Information-fueled, opinion-driven. This is the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7.
Friends, it's Matt Murphy and the Matt Murphy Radio Show, hour number 2, cranking up on 99.7 FM on your radio dial from Southern Kentucky to Northern Alabama and all points in between. Of course, we're streaming anywhere you stream news or information, music or podcast. You can stream Supertalk 99.7 WTN. We invite you to do that. As a matter of fact, download our own app and take us wherever you go on your smartphone, your laptop, or any other mobile technology you might have, just by typing in Supertalk 99.7 WTN into your downloadable app feature, and we will be there for you wherever you go. And then, of course, there's Supertalk TV, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. Supertalk TV is up and running. Episode 652 is happening. No Headless Bell today, so you get to look at the lovely, the talented, the rather adorable Ken Weaver. Oh, also Jeff is here.
I was about to say, no way you're about to praise me. There's no way.
KGB is also here. So we've got 2 more hours to go. Your telephone calls appreciated, 615-737-9986. Discussing clearly the big issue of the weekend. No, it was not the Tennessee Titans and their dismal performance in their home opener against the New York Jets. Of course, it would not be anything football related. It would be the more serious matter of an attempt on Donald Trump's life. This individual that was attempting his life, Ryan Wesley Ruth, 58 years old, was originally described as someone with, political leanings, and we're not really sure of what their political leanings might be. Well, the FBI is currently conducting a global investigation into the suspect in the Trump assassination attempt. As we speak, I just looked up on monitor number 3, and as we speak, CNN, hashtag never CNN, there is no ability that you have to hate these people as much as you should. They're still referring to it as an attempt or an apparent or alleged assassination attempt. Well, I don't know that they would have confirmed that Butler, Pennsylvania was an actual assassination attempt had he not gotten off 8 rounds and killed people in the process and almost blew Donald Trump's head off in the process. How much does it take? There are liberals out there right now, listening to me right now, that, believe it or not, would tell you that Donald Trump, that it was all just a staged hoax. I've had them communicate with me. And yes, these are morons or insane people. But they live and they breathe among us, and they vote. They vote, sadly. But obviously, the Secret Service and the FBI ought to be taking this situation incredibly seriously from Trump International Golf Club in West Palm Beach yesterday afternoon. ABC 11 reported that prosecutors leveled 2 charges against this individual already: possession of a firearm by a convicted felon and possession of a firearm with an obliterated serial number. The felony stems from an incident in which Ruth allegedly barricaded himself and had a standoff with police in 2002. According to the Greensboro News and Record, once the standoff ended, Ruth was arrested and charged with carrying a concealed weapon and possession of a weapon of mass destruction, namely a fully automatic machine gun. Breitbart is reporting that Ruth fled the scene from the golf course after allegedly being spotted pointing a rifle through the fence by Secret Service. Law enforcement found an AK rifle, an AK-47 style rifle, 2 backpacks, and a GoPro camera in the bushes where Ruth had allegedly taken a position prior to fleeing. Now, new reports today indicate that position was taken some 12 hours prior to the Secret Service apprehending the individuals after a brief chase. In the meantime, the questions are, what would lead individuals to this level of insanity that they would see fit to attempt to take the life of another human being, specifically the life of Donald Trump? I don't know. I can't possibly imagine what sort of language or rhetoric would have led them to this moment. Here's former Senator Claire McCaskill, who is now a regular contributor on MSNBC.
A lot of people have tried to draw similarities between Mussolini and Hitler and the use of the terminology like vermin and the drive that those men had towards autocracy and dictatorship. The difference, though, I think makes Donald Trump even more dangerous, and that is he has no philosophy he believes in. He is not trying to expand the boundaries of the United States of America. He's not trying to overcome a neighboring country like Putin is in Ukraine. He is not going for some grandiose scheme of international dominance. All he wants is to look in the mirror and see a guy who's president. All he cares about is selfish self-promotion. That's the only philosophy he has.
How dare she say that? The Hitler thing, that gets me more riled up than anything else because you're normalizing the man. You're forgetting what the atrocities he has done for so long because you keep using him as a political stance to get your way, and it's so bleeping disgusting. It really bothers me because I grew up Jewish. I learned what this man has done. I've talked to Holocaust survivors of what happened, what they experienced. Nothing like that has happened with Trump. I'm sorry to burst that bubble, but it's completed other BS that's still happening. Sorry.
Be fiery. No, I like it. If you're fired up, imagine. I mean, no, I get it.
It's been happening for too long.
I cannot imagine being Jewish and voting for a group of people that would be this insulting to your history.
That's exactly what it is. It's completely insulting because they have, like, again, I've been to Holocaust. My grandmother, God rest her soul, went her elderly life trying to find family members that were lost in Germany during World War I and World War II eras. We try to find what happened to them, and we can't. We believe they were John Does in the Holocaust.
Have you seen the Mountain of Shoes?
Yes.
Display.
I honestly broke down when I first saw it because I
don't know how a human being that cares about other human beings doesn't. I don't know. So if you don't know what we're talking about, it's a display. And it shows, and there's a couple of examples of the Mountain of Shoes. There's one in Germany at the concentration camp. There's another at the National Holocaust Museum, which I've never been in. I need to go, but I've heard about it. And we were planning on going, and you have to ticket to the event, and the line was too long, or there was some sort of ticketing issue. One way or the other, we'll get there. We'll get there in Washington, D.C. So these comparisons ought to be shut down immediately.
Yes.
In as much as if I'm having a dialogue with Jeff Malinoff and Jeff Malinoff says, well, in a lot of ways, Donald Trump's more dangerous than Hitler, then I should politely, I mean, I'm being serious now. I'm not against freedom of speech, and I always say that the way that you combat bad speech is with more speech. But any reputable news organization should stop the person and say, please do not compare anyone to Adolf Hitler. Thank you. Go forward. Mussolini, Adolf Hitler, the only comparables to Adolf Hitler, Genghis Khan, maybe Pol Pot. There are some other leaders that have been Stalin himself. There are other leaders that have been responsible for the death of human beings in the numbers that Adolf Hitler decided to be. But it is not that Adolf Hitler wanted to retake the Rhineland. It is not that Adolf Hitler wanted to engage in world war against his perceived adversaries. It is that while he was doing so, do I need to repeat this history? I guess I do for Claire McCaskill's sake and for no one else's. That while Adolf Hitler was engaging in international conflict with ultimately the rest of the globe, with Italy as an ally, with Japan ultimately siding with the axis of evil, while he was doing that, he was also engaging in another crusade of his own. And that is the systematic effort to kill the entire Jewish population. It was known as the final solution. And it was initiated during World War II. Even before, the camps cropped up before the re-education camps that you either subjugate yourself to the will of the German people or you face death. But ultimately, they did not even offer that opportunity. Millions of people were killed. Millions. Not people engaged in war. That's one thing. And that's another subset of all of this that we could talk about. The idea that you compare him to Adolf Hitler in such a way that you suggest that Donald Trump desired to get us into these bloody conflicts. Donald Trump extracted us from wars around the globe. He did not add to those wars around the globe. So quite to the contrary of the manner in which Hitler comported himself with regard to other nations, Donald Trump is well on record as saying that he believes, and you're welcome to believe him or not believe him, but he has said, were I president of the United States, Vladimir Putin would not have gone into Ukraine and none of this bloodshed would have happened. He's the most anti-war candidate out there. Even on that front, it is an absurd suggestion. What are you even doing, lady? Claire McCaskill, had she any shame, would experience it, but she doesn't. MSNBC, were there any consequence to their actions? And I'm not suggesting that consequence should come from the government. I am suggesting that consequence should come from the listening audience. What are you liberals doing? I'm beginning to believe that it is truly a mental disorder. How can you sit there and support advertisers that would support this clap? I don't call for boycotts. I'm not a boycott guy. But if you're joining in the effort to present this kind of nonsense by advertising your product on MSNBC, then you're not advertising to me. Now, are you? Claire McCaskill said, she didn't suggest, she said that
and the drive that those men had, like vermin, and the drive that those men had towards autocracy and dictatorship. The difference, though, I think makes Donald Trump even more dangerous. And that is,
there it is. Donald Trump, the difference between Donald Trump and Adolf Hitler makes Donald Trump more dangerous than a man that was single-handedly responsible for the death of some 6 million Jewish people. How, if you are Jewish, can you possibly support anyone that supports this kind of nonsense? How? I'd say that is a sincere question from someone that does not suggest to understand the full complexity of the Jewish faith and how that intersects with politics. I genuinely would love to hear from the Jewish people. How can you possibly support an administration and a candidacy that's supportive of language comparing Donald Trump to a man responsible for the death of 6 million of your ancestors? There was a time when this was a joke. This is being allowed on networks that people actually believe. I guess reporting the truth is of no matter to MSNBC or NBC for that matter. Lester Holt said almost as poor of a statement. We'll give you that in just a moment as we continue. It's 1:21 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.